Okay, man. So, when I woke up today on April 24th, I didn't think that I would be seeing one of the best individual playoff performances that I will probably ever see, but that's exactly what happened as Jimmy just dropped 56 points and now the 8th seeded Heat are up 3-1 on the Bucks. And I mean, based on the first like 5 minutes of this game, it seemed like Giannis kind of took control of it and it was like, "Oh, this is going to be a runaway thing for the Bucks." My goodness. I mean, we all know that the shot making and aggressiveness of Jimmy Butler goes up in the playoffs, but what we all just witnessed was something else. I mean, do I just talk about the X's and O's of this game? Because I took a lot of notes in the fourth quarter because I was like, something is happening here. I need to remember what the hell just happened, but the holy hell. I mean, let's look at it. I mean, you had the step back three from Jimmy, where it ended up being a two-pointer, but that shot was obscene. You had the pull-up three where Drew was coming back to him, and that was something the Heat did a couple times in that fourth where they had Lowry screening for Jimmy. And I think on one of them, if I'm remembering it all right, Middleton switched, and Jimmy was able to beat him on a drive, get a three-point play. Another time, they tried to hedge it for the sake of getting Drew back onto Jimmy. I'm pretty sure those were the defenders involved. And then Jimmy gets into the middle of the lane, and then he kicks it out to Caleb Martin, who makes a three. There was that one where Jimmy had the step back mid-range over Drew, where Drew fouled him on it. But yeah, those are the ones I remember the most in the fourth. But you know, I do want to talk about the Bucks half-court offense in the fourth as well, because I do think we saw some of their worst habits pop up in that fourth in the half-court offense. Now, I do think they had Bam on Giannis as well as Jimmy on Brook. And I mean, Brook had a big game overall, but it did feel like the Bam on Giannis stuff did affect them in the fourth a little bit there. I mean, Giannis, he had two misses with Bam contesting him well at the rim, but also what kind of got the whole thing started in my mind was, so Middleton and Brook, they ran a pick and roll, and Middleton shot a long two-pointer, really, I mean, I think it was early in the shot clock, I could be wrong there, but not a whole lot happened off the screen. It was just a deep two-pointer, doesn't go in, Jimmy gets it and then hits a pull-up mid-range in transition, because of course he did in this game. Then you had a play where Drew got a double screen from, I think it was Giannis and Middleton, and Lowry does a great job of fighting around the action, gets back to Drew, and then this is something that happens with the Bucks offense sometimes. Nothing happened. It's like nobody's moving. Drew's just kind of looking around. Is anything going to happen? An extra screen? Something? I don't know. Nothing happens. Lowry eventually rips the ball from Drew. We're going the other way. Then we had a play where the broadcast didn't even get it, so I don't know what happened exactly, but pretty much there was a turnover at half court or whatever where they said Giannis was looking to get a timeout. Again, I have no idea because TNT didn't actually show it. I mean, they had a couple of buckets in the fourth. They had one where Giannis and Brook ran a pick and roll, and Brook was able to get to the middle of the floor. He made that. Drew had a crazy step-back three from the top of the key, which as he shot it, I was like, oh my God, Drew, what are you doing? But then Middleton right after had a pull-up three off of a screen where he didn't make it. And, I mean, I get it. Drew just made a crazy one, but it's man, the Bucks half-court offense, this is just a trend with them sometimes where it's they just make things a little too tough on themselves, and sometimes they make the shots, and other times it's man. So I don't know. I mean, it can be very easy to just say, well, hey, listen, just have Giannis involved in every single play, whether it's him screening for a ball handler, him getting a screen from somebody, or some sort of an off-ball set to where he can get good positioning in front of the basket or whatever for an entry pass. And I do think within the fourth, there were some plays there. Again, there was that Giannis-Brook pick and roll where they got a bucket out of it. But man, it's just the margins are just so small, especially in a game like this one where just a couple of bad offensive plays, that could be the difference. Although, as I say that, there was that one late where Giannis, he had it in the post against Jimmy, and he ended up missing a hook shot on him. I'm pretty sure Giannis was involved in the action beforehand, but by that point, my brain was a blur with what the hell am I witnessing, so I might have forgot the specific details on that one. We also can't ignore that Giannis has had the back thing going on, it might be affecting him a bit. So yeah, man, this is where we're at. The one-seeded Bucks are now down 3-1 to the Heat, and Tyler Hero is out, so I mean, it's very difficult to find any offense for the Heat, and so you think about moving forward in the series where Miami only has to win one game now. Does Jimmy have to have, I mean, you would hope it doesn't have to be this level of a performance again, but I mean, at this point, we have enough evidence to say that Jimmy in the playoffs, he just becomes at minimum a 27 points per game guy, man. And the Bucks can tell themselves, hey, listen, he's not going to make these jump shots again. Well, I mean, it's the weirdest thing. It's playoff Jimmy. And within all this, you have the constant storylines of when it becomes the Heat and the Bucks, which is always how much space is Brook giving Bam on these free throw line jumpers? And I mean, with one game now for Miami to win this, Bam could just make 7 of those types of shots, which I believe he did in the first game of the series, if I'm not mistaken. And that could be the game. Or it could be another game where, Brook, backing up on screens, Duncan Robinson, some handoff actions, and then boom, he makes like 4 threes. Like, anything could happen now for the Bucks. I mean, the margin of error is super low. Like, look, obviously with the team they've got, like, they can definitely come back from 3-1 here, but, well, they're going to have to do it. And I guess my default for, what they got to do on offense, I mean, I mentioned, Giannis, Middleton, pick and roll, that stuff. Just Giannis everything, whether it's Giannis getting a screen from somebody, Giannis screening for someone. Just the biggest thing with the Bucks half-court offense, even as they won the championship, was like they still have these moments where it seems like Budenholzer, because this team is definitely like a defensive first team, where it's like, we're sometimes going to let you guys kind of figure it out in the half-court offense, and sometimes that's cool, and sometimes it's like, okay, can we have like a specific play on this play? And, maybe I'm rambling at this point. Jimmy Butler, holy, what the